YouTube, vinyl community, Brian Wilson fans, random people on the internet. My name is Giggens, and we're here today to talk about Brian Wilson's brand new album, At My Piano, released through Decca Records in November of 2021. Finally came in the mail, much longer after that. Shipping delays. This is Brian Wilson, exactly this, at his piano. No voices, which is always very strange when a Beach Boys release comes out with no voices on it. You know, they did this with Stack of Tracks back in the day, and people were like, we get to sing along with it? The Beach Boys are known for their vocals. What is this? But because of that album, you got introduced to the world of the sonic textures of the music much more in depth, hearing things you may have missed before because the vocals were on top. This album takes that structure and breaks it down to its absolute skeletal core. So you get songs as bare bones as possible, and hearing the bare bones arrangement with just the piano oftentimes is haunting, beautiful, sad, joyous. It almost leaves you speechless because it takes you through all these emotional journeys, and there isn't one lyric on there, not one single voice, nothing. It's just a piano. And it's very moving. It's quite an experience, I have to admit. When the project was first announced, I was already excited about it. And then a lot of stuff came up saying that just Darian was behind this whole thing. He plays everything on it, and that's not true at all. If you listen to it, and you know Brian's style, and his phrasing and the way he plays, and especially you hear it on the end of so many of these songs, he'll stop the ring out. He won't let it just ring forever. He stops it. That's a very Brian move. It's a very Brian thing to do. So that's how I know he's playing on this thing for sure. But it's so cool to hear him restructure these songs that we know and love so much, and hearing them just as they are as music, just by one instrument. It takes you into the world of what it must have been like to write these songs back in the day. Especially the Smile stuff. You can just imagine him at the piano playing this for Van Dyke Parks, being like, yeah, this is how this one goes, and Van Dyke being like, all right, I'm writing words down. Like, it's kind of an inside the world of Brian's head, in like the demo form of like him laying down the piano before he rearranges things and tells people what to play. It's mind-blowing. I absolutely adore this album, and let's just jump in. So God Only Knows opens this thing, which I think was the first teaser track we got from this album, but pretty faithful to the original, this one. A handful of songs on this album, I'd say the first half are just really nice piano ballads, and then the second half is where it gets like really interesting. God Only Knows is super well played. It's gorgeous, it's tender, it takes its time, it lets itself breathe. It's definitely a moment of zen, if you will, to take this gorgeous track that we all treasure and just structure it to one little instrument and see where it goes. And it tells such a different story. The same story, but also a very different one. So In My Room follows this up, and I'm so glad this is on here because this is such a gorgeous song. And hearing those chords on the piano, the richness, the tonality, the texture, the ambience, the room feel, you get all that in the recording. And taking the idea of the music, again, without the words and lyrics, you get transported to this other world where the song itself tells its own story. Not a lot of bands can do that. Not a lot of artists can do that. And Brian definitely is of the old school in his songwriting techniques, where a lot of the stuff he grew up with were big-time instrumentals. Instrumental music was humongous when he was a kid. And especially Rhapsody in Blue, his favorite song, or the first one he, really heard. I mean, that's a gorgeous song that tells so many stories, and there's no words in that one either. So, kind of get the same vibes there. Don't Worry, Baby. Really cool to hear this one done on the piano. It leaves you hanging at the end. You're waiting for that resolve, and then it doesn't go there, which I thought was very interesting. I'm not sure whose idea that was to kind of leave it there, but I like that. California Girls. Hearing the chords on their own in the beginning without the sort of layering of like the cymbals and the bass and the other instruments coming in, where it's just the piano on its own, is very moving and very eerie, but very cool. I would have paid for this CD just to hear the intro of that song alone. Very, very inspiring. Obviously, the rest of the song is just as impressive, but that intro is definitely what captured my imagination. Wouldn't it be nice? Soothing. Or did I do Warmth of the Sun? Yeah, Warmth of the Sun. I love hearing that key change on this one, but it's a very soothing song. It's just a very comforting song. It just kind of speaks to you as if you're sitting on the beach at the as the sun's going down. There's a little bit of a breeze, and the waves are rolling just a little heavier than they did throughout the day, and you're kind of in a retrospective mood, and all those feelings kind of come up with that one. I really dig that. Wouldn't it be nice? It's pretty faithful to the original one. There's not too much you can variate on. Variate? Is that a word? Variation. Not too much of a variation on that one. But I do like it. Then things start to get very weird and very cool very fast. So You Still Believe in Me comes up next off Pet Sounds. And holy moly, this one is also tender and introspective, but hearing those chords just on their own, especially the I Want to Cry bit, it's moving. It really is touching. And it gets even deeper with I Just Wasn't Made for These Times, which is already one of the best songs they ever did, but like, it was like hearing it for the first time for me. It instantly took me back to being a kid, and hearing that cassette of Pet Sounds, and hearing the eeriness of the song, and the space and the loneliness of it. Hearing it just on a piano was equally as, I don't want to use the word disturbing because that's not the right word, but it was as equally as moving. I think I've said that several times, but that's how it feels. It takes you to another dimension, even without words. Again, no words, no lyrics, nothing. You feel things. And that's the power of good music. When it's just the music on its own and it makes you feel emotion, there's a story going on and there's something that's going to stick out to you. But it's spooky, it's beautiful, it's somber, it's reflective, it tries to be a little withdrawn. And it's even more fascinating coming from Brian at his age now with a little bit of wisdom playing this song. I could probably go on for hours about that one, but fascinating stuff. And then there's one called Sketches of Smile, which is just bits and pieces of Smile ideas kind of connected together, fragmented together, that makes for another equally as impressive piece of work. Smile is an album that I will do a full review of eventually. It's a lot to cover. This album, and particularly the songs they chose here to break apart, hearing it just on its own, bare bones, the piano, it transcends rock or pop, it transcends classical, it transcends anything that we're supposed to know what music or genres are. It just is. It's just Smile. It's just Brian. And it's one of those times where I would use the term genius, because it is genius stuff. No one makes songs like that. It's in a world of its own where it could be eerie and completely unexpected, but also absolutely joyous, as if someone just discovered the sun for the first time, or the clouds finally broke and it stopped raining. Absolutely incredible arrangements. And like I said earlier, it must have been one of those things where Brian was at the piano and Van Dyke was next to him and they're writing together. Hey, check this out. Check this thing out. I wrote this. What do you think you could do with this? Like, it must have been like that. So hearing it like this, it just made me feel like I was in the room with him as he was experimenting on how to write this thing he would eventually call Smile. Unbelievable. It just left me with my jaw dropped. It was one of those moments on this album where I was like, we're not worthy. It's one of those moments. Then you get Surf's Up, also from Smile or the Surf's Up album. It starts off very powerful, very propulsive. It's on a mission. The middle bit is just as lost and lonely as Searching as it is in the standard version. It's defiant, but it's got a gentle confidence to it. It's a brilliant piece of musicianship and storytelling. It's a masterclass in how to write a song that you know no one else is going to write. And you know that no one's going to come anywhere close to trying to replicate that. It's a very Brian move. And that's why we love him. And then you get track 11 with Friends, which is probably my favorite song on the album. I love everything on this album, but Friends, for me, is a stunning piece of piano genius. It's peaceful, It's full of love. It's soulful. The "Let's Be Friends" refrain done on the piano is absolutely gorgeous. It captures the feeling and the deep love you have for a really good friend that you really care for, who's been there through thick and thin, your good times, your bad times, when you were great, when you were terrible, and someone who's always going to be there for you no matter what. Those moments are rare, and those people are rare, and this song captures that essence to a T. It's perfection. And again, hearing just those chords, and this is a very strangely constructed song. It's in a waltz time, and but the chords that they chose are equally as unexpected. And hearing them just on the piano is something to treasure. So I really highly recommend that song. And then you get "Till I Die," which, I mean, like, you're just rolling out the red carpet here at this point. It's another stunner on its own. Hearing the chorus skeleton of this one is very moving because, you know, you're used to the loneliness of this song sung by a group of guys. This time it's just the loneliness of this song sung by the piano. It takes you on a soul-searching journey, and you feel every step of that way. It's unbelievable. Incredible work. "Love and Mercy," this is a great version because you actually get that middle bit that they kind of stopped playing live in the last handful of years. You know, when they do the song live, they kind of just run through the verses and get off the stage. But hearing this song done with the full middle bit was really cool, and it again reminded me of when I first heard this song for the first time. Then you get "Mount Vernon Farewell," which I don't know who pulled this one out of the rabbit hat. If this was Darian or if this is Brian. No words. Shocked. Hands down shocked. It's like the first time he's probably touched this song in almost 40 years. I don't know whose idea it was to be like, I'm going to play Mount Vernon. Like, okay, Brian. Mind blown. Love it. I love that little refrain. It's one of the most gorgeous things he wrote in that era. And hearing him play it again now is very, very cool. It's a really good little deep cut to keep the fans happy, I think. I mean, there's like several deep cuts on here, but if you look at the back of this thing and say Mount Vernon, you're going to be like, oh, whoa, damn. All right, I'll pick this thing up. And then you end with "Good Vibrations," which is the only song on this album where I'm like, okay. And I really feel that way because it's just been done so many times. It's a fantastic rendition. It's very, very good. You know, the layering of the piano bits here and there, well executed. It sounds fun. It may have been added for commercial appeal to someone who looked at the back cover and said, oh, "Good Vibrations" is on here. I'll take that. Or it could be on here because it's one of Brian's absolute masterworks. Something to be absolutely astonishingly proud of. Let's go with that one. So while it's not my favorite cut on here, I respect it to no end. It is a very, very well done produced song. So the inside cover, you get this is what the vinyl album cover looks like. But you got the CD there. Here's the full back cover and the front cover. And it does come with a little booklet. So you get that great shot of Brian again. Looking stoked to be probably in front of a piano somewhere. Then you get the credits. So it says the information about who did what, which is Brian, piano. I love how it just says piano, Brian Wilson. Perfect. Done. It was recorded at Spitfire Studio and Tomorrow Lab Studio in the U.S., mixed at Spitfire Studios in the U.S., mastered at Fluid Mastering in the U.K., and he gives a thanks where he talks about the piano and how much it means to him and being introduced to it through his parents. More songs, and then a really nice shot of Brian with his piano there. So it's probably no surprise that this is a 10 out of 10 for me. And I'm not saying that because I'm just a Brian Wilson stan. I'm saying it because it's gorgeous. It's timeless music that spans generations and will outlast all of us forever. It's something that you treasure. You could put this on and study with it. You could put it on and just chill with it. You could put it on and listen to each individual note and kind of pick apart what he's doing. You can listen to it and imagine who he was when he wrote each song. You can imagine him playing it now as an older guy. There's a lot you can do with this album. It's reflective, it's beautiful, it's gorgeous, it's got so many things to say, and I think every listener will take everything differently as they appreciate it. So I highly recommend this thing. If you haven't heard it, give it the time, sit with it, and enjoy it. It's not meant to be blasted through. You put this on and you chill with it. I couldn't be happier with this album. And I'm really glad that he made it. I'm glad that he put out something with just him and his piano, because he is a songwriter and piano is his main instrument. And that's how he writes his gorgeous creations that we all know and love and have for over 60 years now. So if you haven't heard it, pick it up. 10 out of 10. I highly recommend it. My name is Giggens. This has been Brian Wilson at my piano. Brian, we're not worthy, man. Thank you so much. 10 out of 10. Let me know what you think about it in the comments below. We'll chat about it. And that's it. My name is Giggens. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.